Hey, real quick before we start this video, today, as of this video dropping, I'm going to be doing some streaming on my Twitch, doing some playtesting, including the second place ace list that we got from this breakdown. So make sure to check it out. We're going to start at 12 p.m. PST, so 3 p.m. EST, and should be a lot of fun. So hit that follow button on Twitch, and I hope to see you guys there. Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and today we have a top 16 breakdown for the Carta Magica Niagara Regionals that happened this past weekend. It was over 600 players in person, and it does have this top 16 that we see here today. And a couple of things before we start. First, if you guys do enjoy these breakdowns and all the work that goes into them, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Over the last 30 days, less than a third of my views have been subscribed, so I do want to bump that up, and I would appreciate hitting that subscribe button. Also, I do want to say if you guys want any of the event breakdowns, they're here on my website for all of the OP04 English format, and I do appreciate you guys checking out the website as well. But going on into this event, again, it was over 600 players with 668, 9 rounds of Swiss, and it was also streamed on the Carta Magica Twitch channel as well, which is going to be linked in the description as well as on this page. And it should also be re-uploaded to the Carta Magica YouTube channel sometime in the next couple of days as well. So you guys can make sure to check out those matches. And into this top 16, we do see a couple of the usual suspects in Newgate, Zoro, and Law, but there are 10 unique leaders that did top this event, which I think is really fantastic, with 4 Newgates, 3 Zoros, 2 Laws, and then 1 ofs for Ace, Katakuri, both Donquixote Doflamingos, Rebecca, Nami, and the starter deck Crocodile as well. So again, diversity in a lot of different leaders getting that top. A good, over 50% of the big 3, I would like to say, but I do think this is a really interesting top 16 breakdown as well. And it does mean we got to talk about 10 different deck lists as well. So going on into this, we're going to talk about the top placing list for each one of these leaders, starting off with our first place list. So we have Dylan with Trafalgar Law. And what can I say about this deck that I haven't said like 100 times at this point? It's good. It's a strong deck. I almost want to just jump to the next deck list as it is, but I do think it is. It's been around for a while for a reason. The fact that you are able to recur a lot of value in this deck. It's a deck that's unless you brick, which happens, but not as often as it should perhaps. But that you get so much recurring value from your leader effect. It's very strong. The fact that your Trafalgar Law additionally helps you not only get a blocker, but be able to get some more recursion is strong in the deck, and just kind of everything else that goes with it. So some choice ads for this one are the ads of Nico Robin. This is kind of a choice between Nico Robin or Vista or neither a lot of the time. 1 copy of the Basil Hawkins, which is strong if you're able to establish it. And it's a supernova, which means it fits with the package very well, and just kind of everything else for it. So across 3 different arts, we are running 4 copies of Sanji, which I do think is a more and more necessary card in this format, since there are some slow decks that try to just not attack you and not give you value. So Sanji just kind of lets you get that value from the cards in your life without your opponent interacting, which is really strong. So I do think that is an ad that I like running at 3 or 4 copies, and it's important. But other than that, I think the deck has been generally the same since the last format, and still very, very strong. So congratulations to Dylan for their finish there. Next up, we have our second place list, and this is Kevin's list with Ace. And again, I will be streaming this list and some testing with this on my Twitch tonight, so make sure to check out that if you guys can. But we have been seeing Ace a little bit since OP03. The fact that we did get it kind of, I will still say that this leader got hit the most off the restriction list here in North America, since we do, run Marco. We definitely run Edward Newgate, the 9-drop, and we definitely run the Rad Beam as well. So because of all that, there are some issues with the deck being consistent or being able to have the power that it needs to succeed at some times. But in a meta where I think Law and Zoro are very popular and very topping, this does have a lot of removal when the Fire Fist specifically. The fact that you are able to use this, in archetype is very, very strong. Jet Pistol, I think, is very strong, and Flame Emperor as well. So all this good removal that, again, is an archetype that you want to be running anyways is very strong for the deck. We are playing our 1-drop army with Izo and Buggy, as well as a new card in the Pell. So this is one of the unique cards in this build that I haven't seen as much in at least other topping lists for Ace. So it is a new card from the OP04 set. It's a 5-drop 6k, and it has the Dawn ×1 when attacking, KO up to one of your opponent's characters at the cost of 4k power or less. So it's a little bit kind of worse Marco in a lot of ways, in the fact that Marco's immediate. It's a 3K, so 4K does make a little bit of a difference. But the fact that you also get to revive this card, and it's a 1K counter, I think is very strong. So that does have a lot of things going for Marco. But even like a slightly worse Marco or a slightly different Marco is a very good card. So in a deck that kind of facilitates all of this advantage, and it's harder for you to not have any counter in hand since the Ace leader effect lets you just discard event cards to get that. I think it's a nice little tech option, and I'm really curious to see how good this does in general. So again, which is part of the reason I want to test with it. So that is the list there, and congratulations to Kevin for their second place list here with Ace. And then next up we have our next list with Dennis with Katakuri. I don't have a lot to say about this leader in general. I know that it's been very strong with OP04 releasing, and the fact that we do get some consistency cards and just some important vanillas as well. So big consistency cards include the beige as well as the Sanji. Having 2 more cards that could be in our life as really good triggers is very important. That also means since we're playing 4 copies of Brule, there are 12 cards that can immediately disrupt our opponent's plays by either developing another blocker or, again, in the case of the beige, preventing them with to attack again with one of their cards, which is really big. We do have our big vanillas with Randolph as well as Sparrow, which is good for establishing that board. And if we're trying to play our 10-drop, being able to have a 5-7 or a 6-8 to attack the same turn with that we drop our 10-drop is very strong too. So we really do appreciate having some high-powered cards on the board before we drop this to help us with our removal. Removal without Dawn by just having some big bodies is very strong for you. So other than that, nothing too crazy. Charlotte Cracker's been a little bit less popular, so 2 copies makes sense. It's probably even a little bit higher than average than we've been seeing from these topping lists, but it can be an important card too. And that's really all I got to say. Yamato at 2 was fine. I definitely wouldn't run this more than 2. I think it's okay at 2, especially if you're taking out the 7-drop Charlotte Linlin, which seems to be happening for this list too. It does have some heal potential, which is nice, and it can, as a 9 cost be played, and then you can use your leader effect too, which is strong, but it can be a little clunky at the same time. So anyways, that is the list, and congratulations to Dennis for their finish there. Next up, we have a Donquixote Doflamingo. So this is the film package, and it's got a really kind of unique list, a lot of one-ofs and individual picks that we haven't seen, I think, in conjunction before. So this is Stein's list here with the list, and we do run some of the standard cards. That includes the film package of Fiesta, the Chopper, the Shiki. The Bart is a little bit unique. It's especially since I think it hasn't been seen as much in the Donquixote Doflamingo film builds. It has been in like the Eustace Captain Kidd, but it is a very strong card for resetting one of our cards that we want to attack to. Generically, the 7-drop Monkey D. Luffy, but there can be other cards. 1 Usopp, 4 Namis, 2 of the Film Brook, 4 of the Uta, and then the Guilds and the Shiki as well. So this Shiki being able to have like a protection effect is kind of nice. It's a 6 cost, which means that if we are going second, it can be played pretty easily if we don't want to use our Nami effect or attack with it. And the fact that we're able to have the protection with it, I think, is very strong for you. And it's a film and searchable. And then the Guild as well. And then some kind of more choice picks too is the Diamante, which I don't see this all the time, but it is a good blocker that also lets you attack and then reset it too, which is really good in conjunction with our leader effect. I do really like this Kaido. It is a little bit difficult to get the full advantage for it, or like losing the Dawn with this effect does hurt this deck, I think, more than often for purple. But the fact that you do have something with Rush that also immediately gets something off our opponent's board is impactful in its own way, and it's not too difficult for us to have like the 2 Dawn afterwards to use with Thunder Bogwood to get the Dawn back. So I think that's strong also. But and then also just 3 copies of Dofi. Normally we see 4 copies, but only 3 with Kaido makes sense, and then the myriad of event cards. So a little bit of a unique build, a lot of interesting one-ofs and techs, and I think it's really interesting there too. So congratulations to Stein for their finish there. Next up, we do have our Edward Newgate. So this is Joshua with this list, and this is generally what we've been seeing as more of the Whitebeard Pirates version of the deck. The fact that we're playing Ezo as well as the Whitebeard Pirates kind of indicates that for me that it's either Straw or Whitebeard or a combination of the two. But again, using this card usually means that you're trying to find our Whitebeard cards, which can include like the 9-drop if you want to play that on curve. Thatch can be a really obnoxious card, funny enough. 7-drop the Ace card is good in this deck too, if you get that immediately board clear and get some really good trades in your favor. And then our 4/6s. Honestly, the 4/6 on curve still means a lot in this game and can help you out as well. So I don't really have much more to say about Newgate. We've been seeing it very often. I don't think that's going to stop anytime soon organically, and it's 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 still in a really, really good spot. So congratulations to Joshua for their finish there. Next up, we have Rebecca. So this is Jeffrey's build with this one. And there is like immediately off of this, we do have a unique pick in the 10-drop Kaido for this build. I don't see this very often. And when we do see a 10-drop in this deck, more times than not, I usually see the Kuzan, since there are some good kind of synergies with it and the cost reduction and the removal that you naturally get from black and blue. But this being able to immediately answer something on our opponent's board as well and have a big 12k body that we can attack with, and our opponent's going to have a hard time interacting with too, I think is important. So again, I normally don't see this very often, but I think it is a unique pick for the deck. Other than that, we do see the general package of the Dressrosa stuff. We do have to keep it very Dressrosa centered so we don't miss on our leader effect, including like our 4 Sabos, 4 Luffys, our King Kong gun to help us win the game, as well as 2 of the Trunos and the 3,000 worlds for removal. So again, nothing I'd say too different. We again have to keep it pretty close to these lists for our Dressrosa package, but I think the deck is strong, and it's really interesting the drop Kaido, and I'd be interested to hear what was the specific reason to choose this card for what you were trying to remove, and how successful you're at doing that as well. So anyways, that is the list. Congratulations to Jeffrey for their finish there. And then next up we have Giuliano on Nami, and this is the Nami build, not a Nami, it is the Nami build. I don't have a lot to say besides this is the build that tops if you are a combination of skilled and moderately lucky enough to make sure that you have enough triggers in your life to get that free advantage, and your matchups are kind of dependent too. You will top with this deck. I've seen it pretty much like, I think it averages out about like every other regionals and a lot of my kind of more local events that I cover too. This is the build if you want to play Nami currently. If there's another build that shows up, I'd be really excited to see it too, but I've yet to see a build that really differs from this one that is as successful for it. So not much more to say. This is the list if you want to play Nami, and congratulations to Giuliano for their finish there. Next up, we have our Zoro. So a little bit late in the video for Zoro typically, but there were 3. They got a little bit of bad tiebreakers to make it this far into the video, but still very strong deck. And we do have this one here. So this is Alexander's like aggro rush Zoro. Typically, we have 2 different builds of Zoro, which is the event version, which is arguably the more popular version, but then we also have this balls to the wall aggressive one with all of your rush effects. We get a lot of our 1-drop army, which includes having the Sunny as just a 1-drop 3k that's searchable off of off the Nami as well as the Dodon. Being able to boost it with cards like Magra as well as our Makino is very important for us, and we want to just go wide and tall as fast as we can. And when I say tall, just like 5ks, as many 5ks as we can. Try to chip out that advantage and really try to punish our opponent for trying to set up later in the game. So that's kind of what we see. We have 4 Rush Zoros as well as 4 Marcos. And kind of the power of this deck too is that everyone assumes that you do have event cards for your Marco. So if you're able to, quote unquote, keep it secret that you're not playing any events, you do get that additional power that this card is very, very hard to remove in your opponent's eyes as well. So something I think this deck has been on the rise a little bit more as the non-event version, and make sure to keep out, an eye out to see what your opponent's playing and if they are playing any events or anything like that. So that's kind of the build for there. 2 Rush Luffys to finish the game, which is very good in a format where I think a lot of people are just kind of defending with blockers and hoping they're enough. And that just says, no, you're not enough with that. So anyways, this is the list for Alexander. Congratulations for their top 16 there. And the next up, we have our 2 blue decks that topped, at least mono blue. It is the, non-Nami mono blue decks. Geez. But we've got our traditional Donquixote Doflamingo from set 1, as well as our Crocodile, which again are kind of similar, but with different flavors, which we'll talk about. So talk with Brandon's list here. And kind of the big thing with the Donquixote Doflamingo is that it has the potential to get more value late game, or at least get better tempo for free in the deck, but it does rely on either 1, setup from cards like Perona, as well as our Donquixote Doflamingo, or it depends on just being lucky and finding your cards, right? Our deck space is a little bit more limited because we do have to run enough of these 7 warlords to see them consistently, and get the synergy with them. So that is a little bit limiting for the deck too. But if you're able to do that, you're able to get a lot of free value from playing cards from your deck from the top of it. Especially Gecko Mori, I still think is like the best hit from it right now, just because it's a 4/6, which means most leaders will have to invest something to try to get rid of it, which is really obnoxious. Which means that if you're able to get into the late game while having a lot of cards in our life, it means that we can be greedy with cards like Dracula Mihawk as well as 10-drop Kaido, and really start getting some chip damage on our opponents too. So that's kind of how I perceive Donquixote Doflamingo in this format, and kind of how the deck works there. And then kind of moving to the starter deck, Crocodile, it's kind of like the same endish game where we want to try to get some control aspects, and kind of, if we're able to establish a 9 or 10 drop and get that tempo for us, it's very strong for us. The main differences between these two is that, one, most of the Crocodile lists that I'm seeing are running the Sentomaru build. It kind of functions the same way as like the Donquixote leader, where you have to set it up, but then you get free value from being able to play a Sentomaru from your deck, which also impacts the deck space for the deck, because we do have to play these Sentomarus, these Pacifistas for us there. So our vanilla as well as one of the blockers too. And then we are able to go late game and kind of just get that value and interrupts with our opponent. So both decks also do appreciate having 3000 Worlds as well as Red Rock. And specifically for Crocodile, we do enjoy having Missile Sunday, which we're able to use in the deck and get the recycle effect of getting back any of these event cards too. So I also do like Dragon Twister Demolition Breath right now. It's very good for getting some disruption for Zoro decks or Law decks, especially when they, if you leave 2 Dawn open, your opponent's really going to respect, the fact that you can get rid of one of their 1-drops, even if you don't technically have it too. So I think that's strong. The only other kind of tech card is this Ulti, running at 2 copies. And again, this is a really good tech for cards like Zoro and Law. Being able to play it and get the removal of some of their cards on the attack can help you get like a 2-for-1, which is really strong as well. So that's kind of the list there for Sam. And again, like, these are similar in a lot of ways, but they have their own kind of different packages and edges for it. I do think the Donquixote Doflamingo is a little bit more rigid on how you have to build it and how you have to play it to get the maximum value, but there is kind of a higher ceiling if you're able to succeed with it too. This one's a little bit more aggressive too, since you are swinging 7k with leader a little bit more consistently, and this one I think is more control heavy, since we are running a little bit more of the top end, and since we can recycle our events with Missile Sunday, I think that's very strong too. So congratulations to both Brandon and Sam for their finishes, and that's going to be it for this breakdown. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, if you guys did like it, make sure to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button. We're going to be doing a lot more OP04 content, and you guys don't want to miss out on it, and I really do appreciate you making it this far in the video too. So that's going to be it. Thanks again to Card and Magica, and I'll catch you all next time.